A really big welcome to the Salon Chat Room podcast with Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions, and Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look. Please help us welcome our guests for today. We are sure you'll be suitably entertained and learn something new and inspiring about our amazing industry.
Our guest today is Georgia Bell. Georgia is a salon owner and a freelance educator. Georgia will be sharing with us her amazing industry journey and why she recommends having a mentor. This podcast is so inspiring. Enjoy listening.
So, hi everybody and welcome to our podcast. Today we have with us Georgia Bell. And Georgia is a salon owner and educator of society, salon owner of society and educator as well. So, Georgia, could you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi guys, I've been in the industry for 11 years now. I opened my salon, it'll be 5 years in March. I also have a little studio on the same high street. It's based in a really small mining town. There's not a lot of money, and I decided from the get-go that I wanted to become a bit of a location salon in a rubbish location. I was going to do that through social media. It's been a bit of a wild ride, but when I was 30, I'm 34 now, so 4 years ago, there was a salon that really attracted my attention on social media, and that was called Not Another Salon, and that's quite Instagram famous. So I wrote to the owner, called Sofia Hilton, and I asked if I could go and work for free, and I retrained myself at the age of 30. So once a week, I travelled up to London free of charge, and I retrained myself, and then I brought everything back that I was learning in London back to the team. I documented it all. A lot of brands saw that I was working really hard. It started to get a bit of traction, started to build my following. And then from there, after a while, Sophia made me the head assistant of her academy, and she taught me all of the way that she educates, basically. And then she started to put me an education program in place for me to start to become a freelance educator. And then from that, there's been a lot of brand affiliation, stage work, stuff like that. And I run a sort of independent educational program through my salon.
I must admit, Sofia Hilton is absolutely incredible. I'm a big follower of hers on Instagram, and she is just so completely different, isn't she? But what she delivers, the color melts that she does and everything, her technical ability is incredible. So you've certainly learnt from the best, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I looked at the way that she branded herself and her ethos, and that really sort of struck to me, and I thought that's a bit of me, so I need to get involved with that. So I took the risk to write to her. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. But I think if you are from, I've never had a mentor. I've never been as lucky to have that. I had a baby the day before I opened my business, so I always worked in really small, rubbish salons that charged £5 for a haircut. We didn't know anything, so we worked together. Me and my team, we worked together at a really rubbish salon, basically. We built it up, and then after several years I said, come on, I want to try and make a proper go of it. And then I never had that mentor, so for me it was really important. I think when you're a business owner, you pass on everything that you know, but you've got to get better, and the only way to get better is to have a mentor. So it was really important for me to sort of get involved and get that. And I think if you're from a small town and you're not from a big name and you're not from a big brand, the only way that you're going to get attention on social media or your story is going to get any traction is to go out and really push yourself harder than anyone else is willing to push themselves,
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, totally agree with that. Being in the industry for 34 years, my journey, as you can imagine, has been a whirlwind. It's just been up there and then down and then up there, and that's this industry really. But Locate Your Look is a huge supporter of education. I personally feel that education is what gets you to where you are today. You are constantly learning from other people, and that's why we as a team put a mentoring program together, because like you say, Georgia, it wasn't available to me I feel that my journey would have been much more smoother if I had a mentor or somebody to look up to, or somebody to push me and drive me to where I want to be. I've always had that ambition to do my own business and to do things within the industry. But I feel that instead of having to teach myself and get out there and motivate myself, although you have to do that, you have to want to motivate yourself and drive yourself. But having a mentor to help you on that journey would have been a lot smoother, I think.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree with that.
It doesn't have to be somebody, it doesn't have to be a famous hairdresser. You know, I went for Sophia because, you know, what her ethos really spoke out to me, because I've always been quite alternative, you know. So she was selling a brand that was a feel, and I really felt that, and that's why I wanted to go and work for her, obviously because of the amazing colour. But, you know, if you want a mentor, you find the best hairdresser in your area. You don't have to travel to London to get it. It just depends on how far you really want to push it. I wanted to get a mentor, and I also wanted to build my social media. Now, for me, she was an amazing hairdresser, but absolutely amazingly savvy at social media as well. So it was like, this is the girl that I need to go and see, you know. And it wasn't without hard work, and it wasn't without criticism, and it wasn't without trial and tribulation. It wasn't without a lot of money. You know, I had to get to London at 8:30 in the morning, and I live 3 hours away from London, you know, plus a half an hour train journey, like car journey to the train station. So I had to get to London at 8:30, which meant I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, and then I didn't get in until midnight. And my train ticket was 140 quid because I had to get into London at peak time. So it wasn't without sacrifice.
Dedication, isn't it, really? That's what you call proper dedication. You knew exactly where you wanted to get to in your career, and this you felt was the best way. So
it was a good couple of years on pot noodles, let me tell you. But it's paying off now, so it's all right, you know.
You find that has really leapfrogged you, taking the time to be able to say, right, I actually have a business plan, but I also have a personal plan. So it's leapfrogged you into a place that you perhaps couldn't have got had you have not gone that far.
Yeah, 100%. And I think from that, it's opened new doors. My intention was never to become an educator. My intention was to become just much better at what I was doing. So when I was entering these industry competitions, I was not just getting to the final. I wanted to win. The funny thing about that is actually I'm not so bothered in the industry competitions now. Like I'm not too bothered about all of that. The education for me has really opened a lot of doors, and it's only because people started messaging me saying, do you do education? Then I took that idea to Sophia, and Sophia said, okay, let's spend a year and let's do you a program that's going to benefit you and that's going to help you and that's going to put you on a different kind of platform. So yeah, but my idea was in the beginning was only to get better, and my team thought I was mental. But actually, if I look at 4 years ago, so I look at now, and I look at their quality of work and their quality of taking photographs, social media, what they're doing, it's not just gone like 20% improvement, it's like a full flip of improvement. So in actual fact, I've got satisfaction from that alone, without the education, because I can see it's like what a journey it's put us all on, you know.
Unbelievable. So and them looking at you, your team looking at you, they can then think, do you know what, I want to be a little bit more like George, rather than they go outside of, you know, looking for a mentor outside. And they're going to look at you, and you're going to be able to tell them and skip all the mistakes that you've made to get to the best bits. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, some of them want, I think having a full salon of superstars is quite a dangerous thing, because your superstars are always going to leave, you know. I like my plodders just as much as I like my superstars, you know. And I do not, you know, if somebody wants to do something, they want to do a photo shoot, they want to enter a competition, I will support you. But as long as my plodder wants to just get better at plodding, it's fine. Yeah. I think the biggest mistake that I made was possibly wanting, I never wanted a full room of superstars, but I wondered why people didn't want to go and get the opportunity. And that was, but you know, somebody's opportunity is very different to your own. So my opportunity, my idea of opportunity and my dream would be, you know, loads of followers, loads of people wanting to see me on stage, loads of people buying into my brand. Whereas you know, a member of staff's dream might be to buy a house this year, or to get a car, or to go on a holiday. And the moment that I started understanding, and that was the biggest mistake I made, because I went to London, I saw all these bright lights, and I'm like, right, I'm coming to Rotherham and we're doing this. And it wasn't necessarily right, because it's location dependent also. When we had the first lockdown, I really realised that actually it doesn't matter what the dream is, it's my job to get them there. And it doesn't matter whether they want to walk around Tesco and not look at the prices and put it in the trolley, and that's their dream. If that's their dream, then I'm going to help them achieve that. And the moment that I understood that kind of light bulb moment, was the moment that my relationships with my team got a hell of a lot better.
It's a massive journey though, isn't it, George? Because when you get to know your staff and you can educate them, then you're on your journey and you're on their journey as well. And like you say, there is room for plodders. There is room for people who just want to go in and do their blow dries and, their cuts. But there is also room for people like yourself who look to Sofia Hilton and want to not only better themselves, but get to another level. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I looked at that. I've got my staff plenty of opportunities on art teams, Pulp Riot, this, that, and the other, and some of them just haven't gone because they can't cope with the anxiety of being with a whole bunch of new people that they've never met, and they've got to put the work out there. And it caused me a lot of frustration in the beginning, because I was like, Jesus, this is the best opportunity ever. Why won't you go? But the moment I started understanding that actually, not everyone's the same as you, and if you're going to be the best boss that you can be, and you're going to be the best leader, you've got to take everybody's thought processes and dreams on board, and it's not just all about winning.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. Sorry, Kerry, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you come in this industry as an individual, and everybody's journey's different, like you said. And we had Bianca Chandler on here last week, a few weeks ago, and she has won Best Love Salon Boss 2 years running. And she was just telling us how her journey of getting to know her staff and how different they were. And she just realised that actually she had to teach herself, like you've said, you had to teach yourself how different they all are and what different journey they want to take. But what advice would you give to people coming into the industry to make their boss realise exactly what their journey will be like, what they want out of it? Do you advise them to turn around and tell their boss, or do you think that there's other ways?
No, I think that I think it's all based on relationships, isn't it? And I think that, for me, it really is about being open. I mean, keep it as professional as you like or not. It depends on your relationships with your team. But I really think that it is important for people to say, what the dreams are. But the problem is people are quite closed books. So what we tend to do is like training or company days once a year, where we say, tell us what in January, we'll do a company day. Tell us what your dreams are. Tell us what you want us to help you achieve this year. And actually, when you're in a group and in a room, I can say this to staff, and staff will say to me, or my freelancers even, they'll say to me, I don't know, because people don't like being put on the spot. Yeah. So it's trying to get blood out of a stone. Whereas if you create a training day surrounding that, and that's something else I learned from Sophia, you can get a little bit of an insight as to what people want.
So put them in the right environment.
Yeah, I think so. Put them in the right environment and ask them, and just be if you really want to win in life, I think one of the main things to winning is to have a team that supports you. I think if your team's against you, I think it's very hard. Yeah, I think it's very hard. I think it can look great on the surface. I think social media can be a great platform to look like everything's going amazing, when there might be some problems that you just can't fix. So I joke with my team. Me and my team all joke. We needed that lockdown. We needed that 3 months away from each other to reevaluate and to get on better. And that's the honest truth.
Yeah,
many people have learned through this lockdown, haven't they, of the things that they can improve on or do more of or do less of. So I think it's been a positive outcome for a lot of people, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you take that time, look at it positively instead of looking at it as it's a negative.
So
yeah, definitely.
tell us a little bit about the Academy. Is this a new project, new baby for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been a freelance educator for the past 2 years. So, but normally I'd go out to salons or I'd run academies through other people's salons. But we had a big refurb, we had a big rebrand in the lockdown, and then we decided to start to run an academy. So we've got 2 academy dates. That one's the 11th of January, and I think the other one is going to be either the back end of January or February, depending on what happens in the world. We never know, do we? But they're both sold out, so that's amazing. That was something I was a little bit worried about, actually, because in the beginning of the first lockdown, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, everybody became an educator. That was quite frightening.
Big influx,
for me.
didn't we? Yeah,
there was a huge influx, and there's nothing wrong. You know what? If you want to show people something, then that's really cool. But a lot of the people that are educators that do that as a sideline, it takes a lot of work. Like, you girls will know this anyway. To be really good at something, it takes a lot of work. So for me, to buy like an £8 course and then you've got a education thing or whatever, it's just not the thing to do. But I'm not knocking people. There was a huge influx in education, online especially. Yeah. Facebook groups were getting together. People were doing a hell of a lot of free education as well, that's great. And you know what? It's given accessibility to a lot of people that were in financial difficulty or couldn't afford it. But I didn't really know where to pinpoint it. Now, before I started the academy and I was freelance, like doing my education freelance, I did take my education online. So I did that before lockdown anyway, because I was really conscious that I wanted to make education accessible to everybody. So if you do earn a little bit less, or you are a junior, or you are an assistant or whatever, you could get one of my classes for 30 quid. But I did that before lockdown, but that did really well for me, because then all of a sudden I had these 3 classes that I'd pre-made that I could just sell through lockdown. So it's quite good. And then I thought, am I going to take the risk? Am I going to do a balayage academy? So started putting it out on social media, and then we sold out. So I think there's a need for both. I think there's a need for online education, and I think there's a need for being educated in person.
That's what I was just about to say. Sorry, that's what I was just about to say. So I believe, as somebody that's been in the industry for as long as I have, and now creating Locate Your Look for customers to find qualified and experienced professionals. With online courses, I just feel, how do you stop people new coming into the industry thinking that they can click a button on a computer and learn something and then go and charge people for it?
Yeah, I mean, there is that thing. I mean, I don't think I get many people that are as inexperienced getting my courses, because they are quite placement, and the colour placement and the theory that I do is quite complicated. I think you have to just be very aware. Like, even if I invested in a lot of online education the first lockdown, probably about 1,500 quid's worth. And it was more theory based. It was more taking me back to sort of like the theory and stuff behind it, because I think it's really important. But I would never go on somebody's course. I would never go on a course by, I don't know, Expression or whatever, and then say, I have been trained by Expression. That's exactly the reason why I wanted a mentorship, because it meant so much. I can go and pay 400 quid for a course all day long with whoever I want, but how much are you going to get in that day as compared to a mentorship? And that's what I needed to be taken seriously. Although I do think you can learn quite a lot in a day, but I would say generally my market and the people that buy into me are hairdressers that are already very good, which adds a little bit more stress to me. But I've gone to colleges and I've gone to the students, and I always give free training days to my local college and stuff like that. But it's quite hard work to do that as an educator, because people are just not at that level to begin with.
We were talking, Kerry, weren't we? Because Kerry does a mentorship program as well, which I'm part of. And we were talking about being a mentor. Now, it sounds like you're kind of being the mentor now, doesn't it? And also you have a responsibility being a mentor, but you actually continue learning as a mentor as well, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I do a lot of, there's a lot of things that I still can't, my education, I still invest a lot of money into that, and I still do a lot of education. And I have, since obviously working for Sophia, I do get a lot of people asking to be mentored now.
Yeah.
And I've no problem with doing that. But people do have to be really serious about the work that it takes to do that and to be there every week, you know. And I might have had people that have turned up maybe 4 or 5 times and then not come again. And you've got to realise that it's not just, you're not just going to come and I'm going to show you everything. I think it's a classic, like, I am over time, but you've got to be really serious about doing it. And there's been a lot of times that I've, you know, that mentor that's come from another salon for me to help, I could be then mentoring my assistants. So people have got to be really serious about.
You're going to expect the amount of commitment that you made to Sophia as people who are coming to you. You're going to want them to match that commitment because you know what it's like. You've been there. So we would totally get that as being, you know, Locate Your Look is running a mentorship program. So as long as you have commitment from people, you're going to give your best.
Yeah, absolutely. Talent can be taught, can't it? Talent can be taught to anybody, but the commitment can't.
No.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we are in a bit of an instant gratification society, especially with the younger ones that want everything now. You see it on social media, you think, oh my God, you know, I have a lovely Saturday boy, he's called Reese and he's fantastic, but he messaged me on social media and he said, I see your life and I see you're here and you're there and you're doing this and you're doing that and I want that life. Well, you can have that life about 12 years in, mate. Do you know what I mean? And if you want to bring me Saturday boy, then yes, you can, but you're not going to come and get that life straight away. You've got to, and I think it's just very easy, you know, for people to see the glitter, and not all that glitters is gold. There's a lot of hard work behind the achievements that people publish on social media.
So your mentoring teaches them to be realistic about their goals and approaches. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's one key ingredient in the recipe of success, and that's hard work. And consistency. And if you haven't got those 2 things, it's never going to work, you know, unless you get this amazing lucky break or whatever, you know. There's got to be some level of, you know, my life might look really exciting on social media. It's actually really boring and it's really structured because I get up at 5 a.m. and I do Instagram and I, you know, my life is like, then I do a full day of clients and then I might come home and I might do a podcast, then I might do the hair show. So things are really structured, but it looks exciting and it's easy for people to mistake that, you know.
That's what they say, isn't it? You get more luck by the hard work you do. So luck comes from hard work. It's all about the determination as well, because if you're determined to get to that next level, then the hard work comes natural to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's just opportunity. The more you're seen and the more that companies see you working hard, the more opportunity you're going to get.
Yeah. So sorry, George, have you identified people in your team and you can see a little bit of you maybe sort of 4 or 5 years ago and maybe you know mentoring them? Has that happened for you?
Well, I mean, I've only just started employing really, so I have a lot of I have freelancers primarily, but we're lucky that we've got a really good relationship together. So it's really, I mean, my freelancers, we will train, and we do have like inspo nights where one of them's really good at putting hair up, for instance, so they'll take over the training night. I'm really good at colour, I'll take over that, precision cutting, whatever. But it's quite hard for me to train them because they are freelancers and they are their own boss, you know. But having said that, you know, recently we shot our first collection, and it's called Red, and it got featured in Hairdresser's Journal yesterday. And I did that with my like right hand man Luke, and he's a freelancer, and he doesn't want the stardom, he doesn't want the stage kind of thing. But I know he's super proud about being featured in Hairdresser's Journal. I mean, who'd have thought 5 years ago we worked at a bus station charging £5 an haircut, and now we've got a big spread in Hairdresser's Journal? You'd have never have thought it. Do you know what I mean? So I know he's really proud of it, you know. But he just doesn't want he hates, like, I do a lot of videos, I do a lot of social media. I have no problem talking to a camera, no problem talking to people. But for a lot of people, the anxiety levels that brings is huge.
We were talking about that, weren't we, Kerry?
I remember one time, actually, it was actually last year, I was at Colour World, but we'd got a gig at the Hairdressers Charity. So I sent Luke, and he went to work with an amazing session stylist called Carolina Saunders. But because I was doing Colour World and I wasn't there mentoring him, he didn't mess up, but he didn't plan it nowhere near as it, and it should have been my job to have planned that. So I learned a lot from that I can't expect to push people on a stage and not give them that support. And I need to be by the side every single time, whether they're self-employed or not. Yeah. Because people need guidance, you know. And luckily, my friend Carolina looked after him, and she was like, "Oh, George, don't be too hard on him." And it was fine. But I should have stepped away from Colour World, and I should have backed him 110%, and I didn't. And that's something that I learned as a boss, and as a mentor.
It's funny because on part of Locate Your Look, we sort of kind of work really, really closely with our members, and the amount of talent that we've got on there, but they just keep it in the background. They just sort of kind of, you need to push yourself and get it out there. Let the world see how talented you are. But they just want to sit in the background and say nothing. So there is huge talent out there, but not everybody wants to share that, do they? They're happy. Is that what you? They're
happy as they are, and I think you're going to get the best out of people if you push it by all means a little bit. You know, I've started introducing these photo shoots. I've started, saying, Luke, can you help me with this? Can you do this with me? Yes. And I think if it's less about you and more about the team, I think you're more likely to get more from your team. I think if you're going to go out there personally and win everything, then your team are going to look at you and think, I'm out of my depth. Whereas if you're the one in the background.
So part of Locate Your Look, we have an end of year awards every year. And it's all about sort of reviews. So it's all about customer reviews, what the customers have said about you, what star rating they've given you. And we sort of kind of do it throughout the year. So
I'll have to enter that then, won't I?
You will. You'll win it.
So the people that don't want to be in the limelight sort of get that recognition, because I feel that they deserve it, because their talent is absolutely second to none. But getting recognised, but without being in the limelight is called, so we call it the best love salon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And, every industry event that I've entered or awards event that I've entered industry-wise, I've never done it as maybe the colourist or the stylist. It's all, every single award that we've won in the salon, it's all for the best colour salon, the best team, the best loved colour salon. And I think that's really important for morale,
I do too. I think it's the amount of members that have said that, God, that is the best thing that's ever been invented, because their team are just like buzzing, making sure they're getting the reviews, making sure they're sort of kind of doing the job properly, making sure they're doing the whole service from start to finish. So it's like they're doing the consultation properly, they're doing the service properly, and they're doing the aftercare properly, so that they get that whole sort of kind of recognition for doing the job properly.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Just quickly, going back to the online education, do you think that looking forward, maybe post-COVID, hopefully with the vaccine coming and everything, do you think there's still going to be quite a big chunk of what we learn online? Or do you think that will phase itself out completely?
I don't know. I mean, if you got to look at the first time of when we came back, we managed to sustain ourselves for a full 3 months, and things were really busy. And I know that December's going to be crazy plus some. So I've not seen like a proper Christmas for a few years. I don't know whether that's just because of the way the world is, but it's going to be like a real proper 10-year ago Christmas, isn't it? This year. So I don't, how much online did we do when we come back? I know I didn't do any, because I was at work till 10 o'clock at night. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that there might be, I mean, I can't speak for the government and I don't know what they're going to do, but I do think there'll be another lockdown next year, and if that's the case, then to go online. And I think it's great. But I mean, I know that I like to be educated in person.
I think a lot of people do, don't they? If they have,
and I get a lot out of it. There's only so much you can see on a Zoom, like the angles that you take, the sectioning pattern that you take, whatever. You can't see it like you would do in person.
Absolutely.
And also, like, if I'm training somebody and I'm letting somebody have a go and they're with me and they're doing it not quite how I do it, I'm able to explain that. I can't do that on a Zoom.
And you could take over. Whereas
I agree with that. I think it's a hands-on industry, and I just think that the amount of people I've trained in my career is phenomenal. Some people get it first time, and some people take 10 times to get it correct, and you just don't see that online. I just feel it's really important. I do believe there is a place for online training. I do think that if you just want to refresh something, or you just want to sort of kind of see how somebody else works, or just learn a slight technique when you've already had 10 years down the line, then there is room for that, but not when you're just starting out. Or
I also think as well, you know, it's and that's something that I said in the first lockdown, actually, be careful who's teaching you.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of people that I saw teaching, and there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but I would always go to the top names. There's a reason why people are educators. There's a reason why Jack Howard specialises in balayage, Sophia specialises in balayage. You know, the chalk girls, they specialise in you know, theory and everything. You know, just be careful who's teaching you.
Yeah. That's good advice. Yeah.
Don't be wasting your money on people that's just trained themselves and think that they know.
By all means, if it's free, then watch it. But I do think that there's a certain, you know, if I wanted to do avant-garde, I'd be going to, you know, Robert Massiave or Angelo Seminara or Expression. I wouldn't be going to Beverly up the street. You know what I mean? That's just the way that I see it. So I think it's a good time to research the industry, research your educators, and pick accordingly.
Yeah, that's why me and Angeline are doing this podcast, really. So to get people like yourselves on here so that we can educate them this way, educate the people in the industry, just say that actually you're not going to learn something in 5 minutes online. You need somebody like yourself, Georgia, to give them the do's and the don'ts in the industry.
I think also for
like take a look, sort of,
definitely.
What we give is 110%. And it's all free. So but we don't educate anybody.
Our listeners really want to hear a diverse conversation about what's out there as well, and they need to be thinking, well, if I'm going to aspire to somebody like George, you know, how do I get there? What do I do? So I think just by listening to something like this and our podcast, we can introduce you to people that might not have an opportunity to have been able to listen to you. So obviously we thank you greatly for that.
Not a problem at all. I've enjoyed every minute. No, it's great. I just think you've just got to. My biggest piece of advice would be really is you've just got to have a sort of why to what you're doing. You know, it's all right working hard, but you've got to understand what's your 5-year plan. What's your 10-year plan? Is it to be a salon owner? Is it to be an educator? Is it to be a mentor? Is it to be a teacher? Whatever it might be, just put your plan in place first, and then you can look at the avenues that you can get. And of course, we've got an amazing thing. It's amazing and it's terrible at the same time. It's social media, but of course, it allows us to connect. Social media's done my life a world of good. I also have to have a number of breaks from it because it gets a little bit much sometimes. But, you know, without that, without LinkedIn, without Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we wouldn't even know half of what we know or know each other or be able to connect with one another. So I think it's a very great place to be at the minute.
Especially for the industry. You're absolutely right. Well, Georgia, as I said, thank you so much from Kerry and myself. We've spoken to Georgia Bell today from Society. She's a salon owner, educator, and in our mind, she's a superstar. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed it. No problem. I'll see you later.
So hi, everybody, and welcome to our Salon podcast. Today we have Georgia Bell from Society, who's salon owner and educator. Welcome, Georgia.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to do this interview.
A big thank you to our guests today for giving up their time to share their own salon industry journeys. Don't forget to sign up to our channels so you don't miss out on the amazing guests we have lined up just for you. Big love from Kerry Humphreys, founder of Locate Your Look, and Angeline Hayden, founder of Midas Customer Service Training and Salon Solutions. See you next time on the Salon Chat Room podcast.